Hi, it's Ken Kaplan from the New England Motorcycle Museum, and this is one of the most highly coveted super bikes of the 70s. This is the Z900, Kawasaki Z900 1976. We've just gone through the bike, and it's road ready to ride it cross country tomorrow if you want to, or put it in your museum on display. This is the diamond dark green. Factory original paint job. I'll go over all the details when I bring it inside, but it was quite a task to get her painted this color, and it came out absolutely stunning. Just a beautiful bike. True grand touring super bike. Very smooth, very little vibration, tons of torque. This bike only has 19,000 miles on it. The cranks on the KZs are known to go 500,000 miles before being rebuilt. The motors are known to be bulletproof, so this thing's got a lot of life left to it. It's already 42 years old and ready for another 42 years. Let me do a quick riding demo for you.
It's nasty.
I guess I'd most describe riding this thing as intoxicating, because you start getting a little crazy. The way it sounds so awesome, you just want to go faster and faster.
Hi, this is Ken Kaplan from Kaplan Cycles, on site at the New England Motorcycle Museum, and this is one of the most collectible Kawasaki's of all time, the last of the KZ900s. This is a 1976 model. They made this model, the 900, for 4 short years. Absolutely a groundbreaking motorcycle. This set records in the 24-hour endurance races. It would do 132 miles an hour right out of the box, and it stood the test of time. As far as the color of the motorcycle, this is the diamond dark green. It's absolutely stunning. Of all the Zs, this is my favorite, the 76. The color, for me, motorcycle color is a big part of it, and this one is absolutely stunning. If you look up close, it has a thick, this is the getting this bike painted was a whole nother story. I'll go into that. 6 trips to the paint shop. The paint was ordered overseas from the UK to get the correct color and paint code and style of paint. The graphics were special ordered, so it was a process. But this bike came to us in very good condition. One of the nicest Zs that we've restored. The bike has low miles, 19,000 miles, and when we saw it, we're like, wow, what a machine. Let's take it to the next level. So I've got the work order here. There's a total of $4,346 has been invested into the restoration services and preservation services on the bike. That includes the paint job, almost $1,000 into the paint job. So I'll pull out the work order in a minute and go over it. It's extensive. It's a 2-page work order, but I want to point out some of the highlights of this machine first. I guess the engine, the Z900, 903cc factory, original. The engine's never been, the pistons, rings, everything's original on the inside and in mint condition. The compression tested out perfectly. The carbs are the original carburetors. The engine has a stage 1 kit on that. It has a Dyna S ignition on it. It has the Dyno Jet kit for the carburetors with the bigger jets. It has a K&N air filters, and it has a 4-in-1 Vance & Hines pipe, basically just opening the bike up a little bit extra horsepower and torque. Fantastic power cruiser. So the handlebars are the Superbike bars, are a little bit lower than the stock ones. The rear mag is a Lester mag, very hot performance item from the era, the Lester mag. They're very expensive and hard to get a hold of. It's probably a $700 rim today if you could even find one. The front is a Kawasaki, matching Kawasaki rim off of a KZ900-A4. We also put the, actually the previous owner did this, put the right side fork on that has the adapter for the disc if you wanted to put a second disc on the front, or second rotor on the front, or caliper. So it has the rotor, just needs a caliper and the brake lines. So you could have triple disc brake setup. As you can see, the rotor's in brand new condition. I don't think it's ever had a brake pad on it. The tires are in mint condition. I would say they're 90+%. They've only got a couple hundred miles on them. It's got a nice set of performance tires, front and rear. The seat is a Travelcade seat cover, so it's got a replacement seat cover. The let's see, the grips are brand new, as are the mirrors. So with that, without further ado, let me jump into the work order. I also have the title here for the bike, so there's no issues with the paperwork. We got a clean title for it. The work order, again, $4,346 was the bottom line. Now, I guess I'll start with the first page of the work order, then I'll go into the parts list. I also have the instruction paperwork for the Dyna S ignition here, so that'll be included with the bike if you ever need it. So the first thing we did again was a compression test, 165 PSI across the board, which is perfect. We, while the plugs are out, we put a brand new set of spark plugs in and replaced the spark plug wires, the coils, and the caps. So take a look at the spark plug wires there, Kenny. Brand new NGK spark plug wires. It also has brand new coils and caps. We went through the Dyna S electronic ignition, everything's set up perfectly. Also put a brand new Yuasa battery in it. While we're underneath the seat, we put a new fuse holder in it and redid some of the wiring under there, make everything perfect. Then we changed the engine oil and filter. Then we went through the fuel system. This is where it gets fun. The gas tank was taken off. We cleaned the fuel tank interior with a soda blasting method, and then used metal rescue on it prior to sending it out to the paint shop for repaint, which was trip 1 to the paint shop. We replaced the fuel cap gasket. We rebuilt the original petcock, replaced all the fuel lines and the drain and vent hoses. Then the carbs came completely apart, well over 100 pieces, completely disassembled and cleaned, separated the rack of 4 carbs to replace the fuel inlet tees in between them. We jetted the carbs for the K&N filters and the Vance & Hines exhaust, so it starts up, even on a cold day, you don't need to choke, just hit it, fires right up, runs perfect. All 4 carb holders, that's the junction between the carb and the engine. Take a close-up of that, Kenny. That's a rubber flange mount to the cylinder head. Those are all brand new. That's an area, if you don't do that, you can get vacuum leaks, so everything's perfect. The K&N filters were installed and oiled. The throttle housing was removed, the pipe was clean, the handlebar was clean. We lubed and adjusted the cables, installed a brand new set of grips on it, a brand new set of mirrors. The speedometer cable was replaced. We also prepped all the bodywork for repaint. So went to the paint shop, had the bodywork painted, then we went and picked it up, put the decals on it, because they don't know how to do that at the body shop. They're not bike guys. So we had to match it with another Z900 we have at the museum here to make sure it was perfect. So we installed the decals and then bought it back to them, where they clear coated over the decals and then sent it back to us. So it came back to us and they didn't completely paint the ridge of the gas cap here. So trip number 4 was to pick it up so we could have this painted right here. We wanted to paint it right to the ridge. So that was trip number 4. So we bought it back, returned it to them. That was trip number 5. And then when it was done, after they repainted it, the gas cap, that was our 6th trip to the body shop. So we put down 24 hours labor, but I can tell you straight up, the body shop's about a half an hour ride from here in Stafford, Connecticut. So it's an hour round trip. We got 6 hours in drive time just to get the tins painted on this. And the paint was ordered from overseas, from a company that makes a special paint, and the graphics were ordered. So it's just a very time-consuming process to do it right. So these are the original tins that came with the bike. Then the mirrors were installed. Oh, I already read that part. So then we reinstalled the bodywork and detailed the tank and side cover badges, and then filled the tank up and tested the petcock. Everything's perfect. So the tank, the petcock, all the lines, the carbs, everything on the fuel system is new. So it runs like a brand new motor, actually better than brand new with the carb jetting and the K&N filters and the custom Vance & Hines exhaust. It runs much better than the stock one. So the front master cylinder, then we went through the brakes. We rebuilt the front master cylinder and the caliper, then bled the brakes and adjusted the rear brake pedal free play. Went over the whole bike, tightened down all the nuts and bolts, adjusted the chain slack. Then got the bike running and synchronized the carburetors. It's something that's like a lost science right there. Synchronizing the carbs, adjusted the idle speed, and then test rode it. So a couple notes from the test ride, and I've got a huge parts list here. I'll go over in a second. So let's see. The steering head bearings are the original ones. They're in decent shape, but that's one of the things that the tech noted, that at some point you might want to put some new steering head bearings in it. And that's about it. So the parts list: brand new Yuasa battery, brand new spark plugs, brand new ignition key, brand new OEM gasket for the fuel cap. So I don't know if I mentioned that. New petcock rebuild kit, brand new joint for the fuel pipe tees, brand new O-rings for the float bowl drain, O-ring choke plungers, caliper rebuild kit, brand new grips, brand new ignition coils, wires, and caps, brand new carb rebuild kits, brand new carb holder rubbers, all the spark plug caps, oil filter element, oil, some new grommets for the side cover, underneath the side cover, and new master cylinder kit, new mirrors, and of course the diamond dark green paint, which was $250 for a quart of paint, so really expensive stuff, plus shipping. So that's about it. Bike runs perfectly. It's been sensibly restored. That is, we set it up the way we'd want it for a good bike to ride. We like the super bike bars. The way it sounds with the pipe is unmistakably music to my ears. It's got the performance wheels on it. It's got a set of performance shocks. The brakes are all done. This is a bike that you get on and ride it to Daytona, ride it to Laconia, show up at a meet where everybody's on new bikes, and I guarantee you everybody's going to crowd around this one and talk about it, because you just don't see these out there for sale anymore. Specifically on eBay, we just checked completed listings. There hasn't been a single one sold in the last 3 months. I think the last decent one that sold was the one we did last year, which had more miles than this. It wasn't nearly as nice as this from a starting point, and had more miles. That one sold for $10,500. I was just at Mid-Ohio, and what's the lady's name from Japan? Naomi. Naomi is a collector of Z1s. She was there. She bought a 75 Z1 original bike. She paid $22,000 for it. Beautiful, stunning original bike, original stock pipes and everything. So obviously the values of these is still going up. This is considered the best of the Z900s, because the last year they had the carburation figured out. There was no flat spots. They had the ignition figured out. Everything was dialed in beautifully. So 903 cc, 132 miles an hour stock out of the box, close to 85 horsepower. It's just a fantastic super bike that, you know, it's a legend. So if you're looking for a Z, highly recommend. I'd sell this to a friend of mine. It's a stone reliable bike. Matter of fact, my friend Mark Summers, I'm going to text him this video. He might be interested. He had one of these when he was a kid, and it's basically a bulletproof bike, and it's an investment quality. Certainly going to go up in value. So as far as the restoration work we did to the bike, I went over everything. We happened to draw a line somewhere in the sand because as is, we sold a Z900 with a seized motor and a huge hole in the Vance & Hines 4-in-1 pipe because it had rusted out and been sitting outside for ages, and it sold for $5,000. It was shipped to Japan for someone who restores them. So even a total turd is worth $5,000. We just put close to $5,000 into this bike plus our purchase price. So we didn't want to go too far on it and price it out of the realm of being sold. This bike is being sold. I have another one here in the museum. I have a 75 Z1 that we can never sell. It was donated and we agreed to never sell it. So I knew we were building this bike to sell it, and I wanted to, so there's a couple things that you might want to consider doing at some point. The fork seals don't leak at all. The forks are absolutely stunning. The chrome on the forks is one of the nicest sets I've seen. At least this one is immaculate, you know. But the rubbers here have a little checking in it, as you would expect. They're probably the original ones. They're not defective. They're still working fine. But if you want to, at some point, replace those, you could do that. If you want to add the second caliper on here, you can pick one up on eBay for probably 70, 80 bucks, along with the cable for 150 bucks. You can add another caliper on here. That's about it. There's a little bit of patina on the pipe back here from some battery acid formerly spilling out on it, so because the tube wasn't routed correctly, so it's a little patina. Other than that, the motor is beautiful. It doesn't appear to have ever been dropped because there's no cracked fins, no damage on the cases. Everything looks beautiful. It doesn't leak oil at all. Typical oil tight, low mileage Z. Same thing on this side, cylinder fins. The motor's stunning example. So one of the nicest I've seen, the way it came to us, it was very close to what you see here. We just did the things we mentioned, and that's about it. So it was a two-owner bike before us. The guy we bought it from purchased it from his lifelong friend who owned it since it was new and had some health issues, so sold it. So here it is. So really enjoyed the process of taking this to the next level. If you want to take it and make it your own and do your thing with it, well, that's up to you. We're going to price it sensibly also, so to make it a win-win. Stunning machine. Good luck bidding on it. Have a Merry Christmas. Put this under the tree. This will be the gift that keeps giving, and it's going to go up in value every year. So it's even a Christmassy color, green. It'd look awesome under the tree. Good luck bidding. God bless America.